Hey guys, so I was sitting here packing, so please excuse the mess of my room. But I was sitting here packing for a trip and I was thinking about how, a lot of people ask me about how I balance it all and all that stuff. And, I just saw this is like a few weeks after the recording of the Emma Grede podcast that she came out with. And like her first episode went super viral because she was talking about how like balance doesn't really exist for high level and super high achieving people. And it doesn't. I think that you really can have it all, but not at the same time. I think that you have to kind of just choose where your focus is going to be at that time of your life and pour everything into it if you want to be super high successful or a super high performing, a high earner, all of those things. I think that if you want to have extraordinary wealth, you have to be extraordinary in your work ethic and what you do. I'm thinking about that because, I feel like part of the idea of like feeling complete or being truly happy for a lot of people that I know, a lot of entrepreneurs that I know, is this idea of balance, right? Like we feel like we got to be perfect in every area of our life. We have to be, have the best relationship with our family and have a billion friends and show up to everybody's everything and support everybody in every way and have, be a billionaire and have, 2 or 3 kids and they go to the best schools and they're doing the best and be married and have the best marriage and live in the best house and have the best cars and go on the best vacations. All of these things feel like that is what success is, but I'm realizing more and more and more like success is really just like truly where you find joy. And I find joy in the things that I've created in my life. I also find joy in the journey of trying to reach my goals. So much so that I've kind of entered this weird place of not even really being excited when I hit goals or milestones, which is something I'm super working on in therapy. Because goodness, why am I never excited anymore? But I do think it's partly because I enjoy my life. I enjoy the process. I enjoy being exposed to new things and then wanting to add that to my aspirations. All of it is really fun to me. So maybe that's why when I hit certain milestones, which could be financial or, maybe making certain new hires or completing something, a project or launching something new, it doesn't feel like, wow, I did it, because all the little things that I did to get there felt like achievements. So maybe it's not a bad thing. I don't know. Again, I will unpack that in therapy. But yeah, I'm really just reshaping the idea of what success is to me, the idea of how to do all of these things that I want to do with my life and how to be the person and show up in the world the way that I believe God intended me to. Yeah, I'm working on all those things and just mindfulness so I can truly, listen to my inner self, which I believe is God talking to me, and make sure that I'm doing things that are within alignment to that voice. I know that everything is always working out well for me, or I know that I'm in alignment when things are working out well for me. Whenever things are just falling into place or resources just kind of fall into my lap when I need them, or I might be thinking about somebody and then they call or text me and it'll be exactly what I needed at that time. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm operating fully in my flow, in my rhythm, in alignment with what God wants. And whenever things are very difficult, I can't seem to ever make it work, no matter how hard I try and my effort and all of that, that's when I kind of rethink things and go back to the drawing board and kind of say maybe this isn't something that I'm supposed to be doing, no matter how bad I want it. And that's something that's new for me too. Learning to let go of things that are things that I thought I wanted or things that I strived for and attempted to go after for maybe even years. And then realizing it's not exactly what I want, or it's not within, my alignment path. That's a really hard thing to cope with. Sometimes you just go after goals because you think you're supposed to, or because of societal pressures or your parents or your partner, right? And you become so wrapped up into that, you actually believe that it's what you want to. So that's something that I'm navigating as well. how do I completely strip my brain of other people's wants and desires and society's idea of how women should be and how entrepreneurs should be, and how do I just operate in my full, just complete excellence and in a rhythm that I feel good about? How do I bring my body to a true homeostasis where I feel just like completely comfortable, my nervous system is balanced, and I'm happy? And I believe that the path I'm on is very close to it. You know, every day I wake up, I might be tired and feeling a little lazy and all that stuff, but I'm actually very excited to get to work because I know I'm building something that is not just for me, it's a legacy that I'll be able to leave my future family, and then my mother, my brothers, my dad, my cousins, my family that's here with me right now. You know, we're all intertwined, working together to build something, like I said, for the next generation and generations to come. So I get super excited about that. I'm super excited to learn every day. So some of the things that are a little mundane about my life, like having to be on a billion phone calls and reading contracts and writing pitches and memos and doing corporate governance and all this stuff, you know, I just get really excited about the underlying piece of it. And that is like building a legacy, something that can keep going after me. That makes me really, really excited. So yeah, maybe on another video or something we can kind of talk about, you know, what I've been doing, legacy planning, and kind of just, you know, financially how I have been planning for my future. Because right now I have no kids, I'm not married. My mother and I live together. We have a beautiful home that, you know, we're fixing up and all that, but I know I won't live here forever. I am able to save a lot of money this way. I don't really have a lot of bills or anything like that. So I'm in this unique position right now where I'm saving like a lot of money, and I've been trying to kind of like figure out what's the best thing to do. So we definitely can talk about that for everybody that's kind of trying to navigate that space and figure out like, what do I do with my money and how do I make sure that I'm setting myself up for, you know, to have a retirement and all that stuff? Because as entrepreneurs, nobody else is thinking about that except for us. Okay. You don't have no boss to make sure, you know, to match your 401k. And then if you're in cannabis, you know, you probably can't even open a 401k. And if you have employees, it's not like you're doing, you know, I'm not even going to get into all of that. But yeah, my main focus for the rest of the year is just to be present while I'm doing things. You know, if you're doing a lot of things, it can be really, really hard sometimes to be present where you are when you're there, especially if it's like, if it feels like personal or something like that, right? You're like, this isn't that serious. I'm gonna be on my phone the whole time working. And what I'll say is, it's just not fair to the other pieces of your life or to yourself to ignore those things if you feel like it's something you should pour into. So I am working on being present. The other thing I'm really working on right now, and I'm failing, if you can kind of see a little bit of the background around me, is organization, right? I think that organized people are just like, they have a leg up on everybody else. You know, it makes you feel better when your space is organized. You can usually operate better and faster, and the way you feel will make you work better. And I believe having an organized business, having organized record keeping and document management, all of these things lend to even organized business practices, policies and procedures and workflows, all of these things. I think just being an organized person typically will make you a much better entrepreneur. And I am not naturally organized. I actually call myself like a type C person, not A or B, type C, because I'm like, I have type A goals with the type B execution style. So I'm working on it. I am. Granted, I am 33, so I might be a little stuck in my ways, but I am working on it. I'm one of those hyper aware people that has to, you know, my first step is really like the action, you know, because I know what I need to do. I just need to do it. So pray for me, guys. Please pray for me with my lack of organization. But yeah, balancing it all, you can't really. But what you can do is pick and choose where your priorities lie in this season of your life. And honestly, I think that if you apply intense focus in certain areas for a shorter period of time, I think you get more done like that. I think that if you say, all right, okay, this month even, I'm not going out this month. I'm not going to order out this month. And I am going to spend all of my evenings reading business books that'll help me get to, launching my new business. Okay, and then you will be able to go back to having a normal lifestyle, a normal evening routine once you launch your business, once you've gained the skills and the knowledge base that you needed to be able to do that. And maybe it's even just discipline, because sometimes in order for us to shift to a new place in life, we have to kind of shift our environment to be able to shift our mindset. So sometimes it's literally just about building the discipline to be able to get something done. So don't think of it as every day. You got to have your morning routine. You got to call your mom and your dad and at least talk to 2 friends. And, you got to do your work and be excellent at it and show up, make sure you're dressed all nice and make sure your nails are done and all that stuff. Make sure you cook. You don't have to do it all every day. I think giving yourself grace and figuring out what actually matters to you and do what you can in the season you can do it. So, talk to you guys soon.